toxic masculinity.
We have 2 super chats, I believe. First one will be from Titus Billingsley.
Probably Titus is my guess.
Titus Billings. Okay. You're all are the best. Love the deep dive, Mr. Reagan research.
Yeah, Mr. Reagan. Well, there's a great video coming out tomorrow morning. It's about a. This is a weird. I'm gonna what? What's going on? Oh yeah, sorry. Okay, my mistake. Yeah, there's a good video coming out tomorrow. You know how they got all these riots going on because some like gangbanger tried to.
You can't call it like this.
What?
You can't call it like
I
this.
can't call it like what?
You can't even call it riots. It's not riots. It's
yeah,
protests.
yeah. We should have talked about that. That was a story I forgot to include today. But yeah, the police chief over there in Minnesota said that it was a riot, and all the reporters.
No, he said, I think looters.
No, he said riot.
Right.
And all the reporters were like, "You can't call it a riot. You can't call it a riot. It's a protest. It's a protest." So if Republicans, if Trump supporters walk through the Capitol casually and they're legitimately peacefully protesting, we have to call it an insurrection. But if a bunch of black, presumably Biden supporters are burning places down and looting Nike and causing all this damage and literally rioting, very obviously rioting, we have to call it protest. Peaceful
I'm
protest.
glad at least they didn't say peaceful protest.
So, what the heck was I talking about before you so rudely interrupted me? I said, oh yeah, all these people are rioting because this guy who's essentially a thug was being arrested and decided to make a run for it, and then one of the cops accidentally shot him trying to pull a taser, which I actually didn't believe until I watched the footage. Once I saw the body cam footage, I was like, okay, yeah, she actually did make the mistake. But it is a weird mistake to make. I mean, it's
really a weird mistake.
But anyway, it looks like
if you like this kind of situation, I think it would put you in so much stress and like adrenaline.
Yeah, I mean
you wouldn't even realize what you're doing because
yeah, that's clearly what happened. I mean, she was clearly under a lot of stress. She was probably not the kind of person that should ever have been a police officer in the first place. I mean, if you're under a stressful...
I actually really respect police and what they're doing, and I would want to become one, but I just would like to sit in office and don't go anywhere like out. I just want like paperwork.
Yeah, and with an occasional desk
call.
pop. Desk pop. You don't know what I'm talking about.
No.
It's from the feature film, what was it called? The Other Guys. The feature film, The Other Guys. Highly recommended. Desk pop. I'll play it for you when we're done with this.
Okay.
Daniel J. Corica says Nancy Skeletor Pelosi was filling her Depends that day.
Hey, we still have one super chat before that.
Oh, sorry, I just saw it pop up. Depends, darling, is like diapers for old people.
Oh.
Yes. So she was filling them, presumably with poo, because the insurrectionists scared the poo out of her. But yeah, I mean, but I did this. I did an in-depth video, and thank you for the compliment, by the way. I did an in-depth video about this story of a black woman. She's married to a black man, has 2 black children. Seems like a lovely family. They had a little bit of money. She was actually a game show contestant.
That's cool.
Who won the competition that she was in. So they had a bit of money. So they adopted these 2 brothers, white brothers, and their little sister, white children. And then she murdered the little girl, the 3-year-old little girl. She beat her to death. A terrible story, absolutely horrific story. But I wanted to put it out there because to me, it's a stark contrast between how we treat this really quite massive black woman beating up this tiny little white girl, this white little 3-year-old girl, versus how we treat, basically a street thug who's killed by police in a scuffle. This guy gets killed and they riot all over the place. This little girl gets killed. And who's even heard this news story? No one. This happened a month ago or so. This is like in February. Nobody's even heard this story. This should be in the national news. This should be everywhere. The woman is famous. She's famous. She was on this show. and she murdered a little child that she adopted. I mean, it's absolutely horrific. Like, everybody should know about this story. They should be marching in the streets for that little girl, not for this thug. You know, I mean, it's not a great thing that happened with the police officer anyway, but I mean, compare and contrast, ladies and gentlemen. One of these victims is innocent, and one of these victims isn't so innocent. Yankee the Rebel gave us a super chat. Okay, do you want to read the other one before I read hers?
Yes.
No, let me read hers first. Sorry, I just want to get this out of the way because it's funny. Nancy's dentures were rattling in terror like the wind, like those wind-up teeth, she says. Like the wind-up teeth. I saw a documentary about those wind-up teeth once. Fascinating. All right, go on. Read the other one.
Slayer.
Yankee the Rebel, by the way, is the person that compiles our stories.
Yeah.
She should not be sending us money. All right, go ahead.
You can send it back.
I'll send it back.
Super chat from Slayer.
Yeah.
I don't know what does it mean. IMO. It's some kind of.
Oh, in my opinion.
In my opinion. Okay. People don't understand the difference between intelligence, knowledge, and wisdom.
Yeah. You know, that's actually a very profound thing to say.
I understand. Do you know why?
Huh.
Because my ex used to call me. He was like, "You are smart, but you are not wise." He always used to say this to me.
I think your ex might actually be right.
I was like, I mean, I know you're trying to like insult me and stuff, but I understand that I'm smart, but I'm not wise because I was like, how old? I was like 20. Yes, sorry, I don't have enough wisdom because I'm 20 years old. It takes some time. Sorry, man.
There is a thing that some guys do when they want women to sort of respect them, which is they'll like put them down to some degree. They'll find a way to put them down. I feel like if you're really a confident person, you don't tend to put people down. You tend to like raise people up and tell them how amazing they are all the time. And the reason I think that is because when I was a child, I was actually pretty good at drawing. What's funny? Oh, go on.
I just brought up X because usually you bring up X's, and now I did this, and then everyone is like, "Yeah, I'm taking X's again."
Gosh, give me a break. Anyway, when I was a kid, I was pretty good at drawing, and my buddy loved comic books, and so he would always draw different kinds of comic book characters. There were some comic book characters I could draw better than him, and some he could draw better than me. But for the most part, I was a little bit better than he was. So whenever he would draw something that was maybe unusually good, I'd say, "That's amazing. That's really, really good. Well done." And even if he did something that was kind of like crap, but he was proud of it, I'd be like, "No, yeah, you did good, man. That's great." But if I drew something that he was impressed by, like pretty much universally without exception, he would always criticize it. He'd be like, "Oh, that's not so good. The proportion isn't right here. You need to shade it better there, blah, 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 blah." And what I learned from that experience is that because at first I was like, what are you talking about? This is amazing. This is 1,000 times better than anything you've ever done. and it confused me at first because I'm like 13 years old. I'm like, I didn't really understand human psychology that well. But I figured out pretty quickly that, okay, so he resents me a little bit for doing something that he can't. And so he's trying to put me down to make him feel better about himself or to somehow convince me that I'm not as good as I am or whatever, right? It's just this gut reaction that like, oh, somebody's better than me, I got to put them down. It's a sign of somebody having low self-confidence in some area or maybe even just generally. So at the end of the day, we both know you were too good for your ex, and he probably knew it. That's why
he tried to keep me by basically insulting me.
I think so. Because if he can reduce your self-esteem, then you don't think you're too good for him.
He did a good job. We were together for 4 years.
But who improved your self-esteem?
This guy.
I damn straight. How often do I tell you how horrible you are?
Every day.
Every single.
As a joke.
As a joke, yeah. As a joke. I'm mostly just talk about how ugly she is. And I will say that, which is a horrible thing, really. Gentlemen, even if your wife is beautiful, never tell them they're ugly. It's a horrible thing to do. But I do it because I'm a little crazy. But you kind of understand, right? I don't think there's ever been once that I've said, "Oh, my wife's ugly," And Valeria's actually been upset by it, I hope. But I do make that joke occasionally, which I shouldn't do. But I think it's really funny. Okay. Okay. Is there anything else? Anything else you want to read?
Um,
Oh, Frank James is asking how the coup planning went last night. Actually, it went very, very well. So the people that are putting on the recall effort, they need a lot of signatures. And so starting in about a month, they're going to, they have to prepare a long time before they start it because they need something like 5,000 signatures a day, something crazy like
five,
that.
6,000 a day, yeah.
Yeah. So in order to get that many signatures every single day, because they only have a limited amount of time to get those signatures, and it's a very, very short amount of time, which I think is actually kind of unfair, but whatever. So they have to do a lot of pre-planning to get all these pieces of paper out there ready for people to sign them before they ever start. But they're confident. They think that they can do it, but they obviously they need to get the word out and they need money. Do you know what the website was that we were supposed to?
It's same as the recall Gavin Newsom, but recall
George
George
Gascon.
Gascon.
Yeah, if you want to give those guys money, go to recallgeorgegascon.org, I guess, probably. Maybe .com,
Let
something
me
like that.
check.
But anyway, they need money and they need people to volunteer. So if you're in California and you want to go to grocery stores and get George Gascon recalled, it shouldn't be that difficult because I read somewhere or I heard somewhere, maybe at the party last night, that something like 80% of people want George Gascon recalled, like they don't approve of what he's doing. And we're talking about Democrats here. He had a vote of no confidence last night by some county or some town or something like that. And everybody who voted no confidence of George Gascon is a Democrat, which is pretty crazy. That says a lot. I mean, basically everybody knows that this guy's a worthless piece of garbage. The weird thing is everybody knew that before he got elected, so I'm not really sure why Democrats backed him or why anybody was working toward getting him elected in LA. We all knew what he did in San Francisco, so I remember getting the ballot and being like, I don't even remember who else was.
It's called recallgeorgegascon.com.
Okay, .com. Recallgeorgegascon.com. If you want to send them $1,000, if you're somebody who watches my show and you're super rich, they could use all the help they can get. And this will become a national story, I think, once the recall effort starts, because George Gascon is a minion of the notorious billionaire Porge Poros. If you don't know what I mean by Porge Poros, replace the first P with a G and replace the second P with an S, and you will have the name of the guy I'm trying to say. But I can't say it. That's the weird thing. Like, you can't even say that guy's name on YouTube without getting demonetized, without getting censored, without getting your videos taken down. It's really weird, man. That guy is so powerful. It's ridiculous. Anyway, guess which billionaire? People are writing. All right. All right, I think that we're done for the day. I don't see anybody else asking any questions or having anything else to say. So I guess we're going to see you guys tomorrow. Yeah. What? They're mentioning, like, God, you guys know too much about our personal lives.
What did they mention?
Somebody mentioned the broken bed. I talk too much about our personal lives. All right, guys. I think that's it for today. Are you good?
I'm good.
Okay, I'm good too. We're gonna see you guys tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to it. I like these. I like every single day we do these, and I'm really happy we started to do this show, despite the fact that obviously we don't have as many viewers as I have on Mr. Reagan. But yeah, it feeds into my Mr. Reagan show. Although I'm gonna start doing more original content for Mr. Reagan again, because I think we've got this down, and now I've got a little bit more time, and I can start putting those together. So we're going to have more original content on Mr. Reagan, and we're going to have these every day. And yeah, it's just a lot of work, but we're doing it. And we're going to go on vacation soon. We're going to Las Vegas, but we're going to bring you guys with us. So I bought like a little rig so we can put mics on and then we can do the show from the pool. So hopefully we'll be doing that, and we'll probably
soon. You mean June?
Okay, in June.
In the end of the June.
At the end of June. But we'll have Elisha there from Slightly Offended. I'll have my friend Sydney there. I'll have my friend from Next News Network. Who am I talking about? Gary?
Frenchie.
Darling, you've got to remember these. I can't remember names. So like Gary Franchi, great guy, one of the best guys I know. Can't remember his name because why? Because I'm an idiot. But anyway, all right, that's enough jibber jabber. At some point, we're going to take this show on the road, but for now, we're trying to give you the best show we can every single day, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Good night. Toxic masculinity.